on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Can I get the now bar, please?
$1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the Pregame Show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
I want you to get the vaccine because I want you to be safe.
I don't want you to be a patient I take care of in the hospital. That's what I'm scared of. Can I hug you?
Yeah. Love you. Love you too.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Q-Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q-Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q-Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q-Time, an Urban Passport member.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Can I get the now bar, please?
$1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
You will see me.
As a son,
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the Pregame Show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call call 211 or visit 211.org.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
I want you to get the vaccine because I want you to be safe.
I don't want you to be a patient I take care of in the hospital. That's what I'm scared of. Can I hug you?
Yeah. Love you. Love you too.
Coming in hot.
All right, test 1, 2. Coming in hot. Hopefully you are able to hear us, and we are live here in Tallahassee, Florida, just outside of Bragg Memorial Stadium, the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Keith Hadley of the Things Up podcast is here. A little bit earlier, as we were going live, we had Isaiah Major come by. Unfortunately, we had a little audio thing and you couldn't hear him. So, hopefully you all are hearing us. Let's just kind of surmise or sum up a little bit of what Isaiah was talking about, Kelvin. I mean, he was giving us some guys to kind of pay attention to. What do you recall?
So the first one that really had me chuckling is when he talked about our new running back Yance.
Yeah.
And saying that he been having to tackle him and go against him all camp, and it's been a battle.
Boy.
Yance is Derrick Henry size.
That's a good
Absolutely.
Analogy. Good analogy.
They say 6'2", he's every bit of 6'3".
Wow.
They say 230, he's every bit of 245.
Yeah.
He is a giant guy, and evidently he's made an impression on the team. He also talked about his the converted safety who's now playing linebacker, Jordan Moore, who sat out. So Coach mentioned about that too.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and obviously when we think back to the draft, guys, Isaiah was chosen second. What were your? We talked about the draft Wednesday. Keith, what were your impressions of the draft? Would you have gone in the order that the coaches went in? What's your thoughts overall on that?
I mean, it went up a different order. What I did I liked the commitment to the offensive line. Like, we all know skill position is going to be there, and the way Willie Simmons recruits, there's always a lot of speed on this team, but you can't replace what you need in the trenches. And you even heard Coach talk a little trash, like, no, we're going to be good in the trenches. And even Yant mentioned was, hey, they passed me up. I'm going to punish them for it. And so it was funny to hear Jordan Moore say later on, like, yeah, I got to tackle this dude every day.
Yeah.
So now we got to deal with that. So that's what I'm really excited to see. And I want to see, like, who can get in the rhythm first. And I got my questions about which quarterback can do it first. I'm looking at Musa, but they took Fisher a little high.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, let's go there, because I'm surprised. I don't know Fisher. I don't know Fisher's game. Kelvin seems to know more and has been talking it up like telling us that, hey,
last spring game, as a matter of fact, after the game, I did mention about Fisher, and what I said was that when he got in the spring game last year, the reps and series he got, because it was mostly a defensive game, the offense moved because he knows where to go with the ball. So he was releasing the balls before the receivers got out the break and so forth. You could see the coaching IQ in his execution. And having watched him at Garber High School, where he started for a couple of years, he's small in stature, but he's a pretty decent athlete, actually. And he don't have a rocket arm, but he has an accurate arm and a enough of an arm. I really think because we potentially are so talented in the skill positions, if the offensive line come along, having someone as cerebral as he is, I think he could be a serious threat.
And see, that was my question, because I watched him when he came to Orlando, and they played against Edgewater. And it was Godby versus Edgewater, and Edgewater killed him. But one of the questions was, as you mentioned, he doesn't have a rocket arm. But in this offense, where you throw a lot of short passes and things like that, I think that's actually a benefit to a quarterback who doesn't have that big arm, where Moosa's got the big arm, and sometimes you got to kind of tail that in. But I think that's also the added benefit of having that quarterback who has that higher IQ, because we pointed out last year where we noticed the difference between Musa and everybody else.
Yeah.
Because really, Simmons didn't coach Musa during the spring game last year. He kind of let him do his thing. You saw him focusing on Junior and McKay more so. So I think that's also
let me correct you on that. I don't think he had to coach Musa, because I remember you and I have sat there and I told you. Remember, if you think back to last year, see, I wasn't even paying attention to Fisher. My focus was on McKay versus Musa, and where was Musa and who was this Musa guy, right? So I don't even remember too much about Fisher. I'm gonna be 100 with you, but I do remember watching how I just thought there was coach was still coaching McKay, but then when Musa got there, I was watching. It was like Musa knew what to do, and that shocked me for, again, someone who'd been in the system for a couple of years, McKay, someone who'd only been in the system a few months, and Musa. That was telling me something, and that's why I felt going into the offseason, I would not be surprised if Musa ended up being the day one starter. That's why, because I just felt like Coach was seeing something that just looked natural from Musa. Now, let's talk about the quarterback room, because everybody, the quarterbacks, they weren't chosen first, but we understand. A lot of us offline would have chosen. I think even when Coach put the poll out, 60% of you out there would have chosen Jeremy Musa first with the draft. But as I look at the roster here, we've got, let's see, 5 quarterbacks. You've got Musa, Fisher. We've also got, now, in terms of size-wise, I'm going to give you the size here. You got Musa at 6'3". Meritovich, who's a redshirt sophomore, 6'3", 215. Ja'Cory Jordan, a redshirt sophomore, 6'4".
Yeah.
DJ Boney, a redshirt freshman, 6'3". And then you got Trey Fisher, redshirt junior, 5'11". And so for him to be the second pick is like you said, like, wow, that was head scratching to me. So I'm interested to see between Meritovich, Jordan, Fisher, and Boney. I'm looking at the competition for the number 2 quarterback.
Right.
I mean, we're thankful that I think it's encouraging that Musa played practically every snap last year.
Yeah.
But anything can happen. So I mean, Kelvin? I go to Kelvin and then over to you, Keith. What are you looking at in terms of these other 4 quarterbacks in the room there?
I'm looking for who can move the offense at the end of the day. I'm not much for the T-shirt All-Americans. I'm talking about in practice. All right, the lights gonna be on, fans gonna be in there, guys, competitive competitive juices are going to be flowing, and we know the defense is deep and loaded, so we know both defenses, whether it's the orange or the green, going to bring it. So I'm looking for what quarterback with what they have can still make some plays, right? Because I think coming out of this game, the quarterback with momentum outside of Musa, I'm not worried about Musa. He's going to be the day one starter, period. But outside of him, the one thing I don't think we did last year was develop a clear number 2.
True. And
someone who can challenge Musa, actually. So, and I don't think we did that with Ryan Stanley, to be frank. I agree. I need my quarterback coach to develop a guy. I don't care who it is.
Who's our quarterback coach?
Develop a guy.
Who's our quarterback coach?
Willie Simmons.
Okay. I'm just checking. I was like, who's our quarterback coach? I just had to ask. Keith, how about you? How do you look at the quarterback room outside of Musa? Who do you think might come out as the number 2 guy?
I mean, I think all of us are looking at Junior kind of like, yo, what happened?
Right.
I know I kind of, go to the gym, especially during the off season, and he's down there, and you're like, all right, Junior, and he played. Remember, we almost beat Jackson State with Junior Meritovich as our quarterback.
Yes.
As a freshman.
Yes.
Now you're coming back, and you're like, all right, he didn't play last season for reasons, but now coming into this year, I'm thinking, okay, Junior's going to kind of be the guy, and now Fisher jumps him. How do you utilize and maximize that experience of really being in this offense for 3 years compared to somebody who is the child of a football savant? And so that's really where I'm looking. I think Boney and them are going to get a fair chance, but those are the two. And especially when you start looking at size-wise, I'm not the T-shirt guy, but I also realize 5'11", you're not much taller than me. It's kind of hard for you to maybe look over and get that ball over some of those offensive linemen.
I saw Ja'Cory Jordan a little bit last year in this spring game, and there's a lot to like. And I look at this and saying, hey guys, this spring game is building to the next quarterback. I mean, this is probably Moose's last year, grad student.
He is.
So the future of next, look, I hate to be that guy and start talking about next year now, but let's keep it buck. I mean, we're looking at projecting here and going into the future. Hey, the next guy is one of these 4 guys, probably. Should be. If we were doing everything right, probably could be, should be. So I think that'll be a debate that's number 1. That's one thing that I'm looking forward to in today's spring game.
Let me just add one quick statement with the quarterback to put a pin in it.
Yeah.
So Ja'Cory Jordan, 6'4", probably the fastest, probably got the best arm out of all the quarterbacks, and he's a state champion. And he was a high 3-star recruit too, who kind of failed to us. So you got to develop a kid like that when you get him on campus. All right. So like again, whoever wins out, that so be it. That's what you want, competition. But I'm just saying, when people got talent, that's when coaching come in play. You got to be able to develop that talent. So.
All right, let me take a second. Got to give a shout out to a couple people I'm seeing out here. Tamara T, Mary 305, checking us out there on YouTube. I'm not sure whether some of the other folks who joined us a little bit earlier, I know when we were having a few technical difficulties, are still there. If you're watching us on Facebook and wherever you're watching us, we appreciate you coming in as we try to just kind of set a few things. The spring game is at 2 o'clock, so that's where we will be in a couple of hours. Coming up at the top of this hour on the Black College Sports Network will be the Carlos Brown Show. Before we get into talk, I want to talk about wide receivers for a minute. But we also mentioned there's a high number of recruits on campus today. What was that, Keith? You were talking about that earlier. What's the number? How many recruits?
We're over 200 recruits here, and they're from all over the state, especially. And we're talking about not just new schools. We're talking about your legacy schools like Apopka. Like, they actually brought a nice contingency, and we're not saying they're second, third. No, they brought their starters up here, starting defensive ends,
wow, okay,
starting corners, starting like special teams player. And you got to consider a program like that.
Yeah,
they still run the freaking option at times.
Yeah.
So these dudes are tough kids, and a lot of them play both ways. So you're getting some nice talent, and we saw what happened last year, where we had a freshman who literally started every football game for us last year, in TJ Demons.
Yeah.
And how impactful this next crop and next generation is, and how much they may have to be.
One of the names, Kelvin, that a lot of people are interested to see is the young man from the transfer from LSU. Name escapes me right at the moment, but he was a 4-star, I believe, coming out of Baton Rouge, right there in Southern's backyard. And I was watching a video online the other day, and supposedly, Southern, Grambling, they're not really in the mix right now for him. It seems like FAMU is really the only school that's sort of being talked about from him or, his people or people around him.
Right.
Yeah. Add any of that?
Yeah. Yeah. He announced over a couple of weeks ago that he was coming on his social media page. He was, like you say, he was at LSU. He had limited playing time while he was there, and of course, when the coaching change happens, sometimes you're out of the midst. Don't know the reason why it doesn't seem like he's considering the Louisiana schools right now, other than they have mixed results, and maybe sometimes kids just want to get out of state. And I mean, right now our program is sending people to the NFL Combine. All right, we talking about kids getting drafted. So, for a kid like him who was a 4-star, highly rated coming out of school with 2 years left, I'm sure that's weighing on him. And of course, being from Baton Rouge, he's familiar. He went to Southern Lab, so he's got the HBCU background and so forth. So I'm glad he's not considering anybody. It doesn't appear that he's considering, and hopefully we'll close the deal today.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Ruben Tiller checking us out from Oklahoma. So we getting some folks from Oklahoma, and of course Marcus jumped in. Marcus, we wish you could be there. I bet it's a lot warmer than where you are right now, but unless y'all got good weather up there in the Northeast. But we got some beautiful weather down here in Florida. All right, fellas, wide receivers. So much. We have a lot of wide receivers, a lot of skill guys, right? And we didn't see. Correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't see any of them get. Am I mistaken? Did any of them get drafted in the top 24? Did K-Dot get drafted?
No,
okay.
They didn't. They didn't get drafted. Now that you mention it.
None of them did.
No receiver.
I don't know. Like
defense and line.
Yeah. Now there may be guys that aren't playing. I have not heard whether K-Dot is playing. Jamari Shareed, but I mean that's kind of interesting.
It's not, because they only chose two.
There was a tight end who got
Kamari.
Yes.
Yeah, but when they talked about when he got drafted, they were talking about because he was equally good at blocking and passing. They were more still speaking about the physicality they wanted, and they were concerned about those DNs that everybody was getting and being able to block. To me, the strategy that they took was one team, the orange team, was all about the line of scrimmage. The green team was trying to counter that by making sure that they had enough presence on the line so that they'd be able to move the ball. They got Musa, and I think the orange team went with somebody like Fisher as the only quarterback, because they figured, if they were strong up front, no matter about the skilled people, he'll be able to. We talked about him being cerebral. That he'll be able to get everybody lined up, and he'll see he'll see that pressure when that tackle missed that block, and maybe get him into a good play and make some plays. So yeah.
The physicality of this spring game is something that'll be interesting to watch. My focus is I'm watching outside of this quarterback battle. I will be watching what's going on in the interior because, like you said, I mean, it's been set up through this draft. The 24 guys are over. 22 of the 24. Well, I'd say about 20 of the 24. There were a couple because I know a couple of DBs got selected, but even those they were talking about them being able to be physical and cover guys. I think that's the message.
Yeah.
That's the message. How physical can we be? And if we're being physical with one another in this game, well, heads up, SWAT. I'm telling you now, watch out.
Yeah.
That's sending a message right off the bat.
I'm interested to hear, Keith, your spin on it, because I think, we know what we got skill-wise. Yeah. If we become dominant up front, particularly on that offensive line, because I think the defense is going to be better than the 21 defense, actually. But what you think?
I think, and as you mentioned the skill position, one of the things we also didn't talk about, let's be real, some of the guys that left got drop problems. Like, you don't have Xavier Smith anymore, who was definitely your most sure handed. But Manigo makes the hard catches, and sometimes those easy catches has you throwing your hat, and then K-Dot's 5-7. So you got that, but I think as Kelvin mentioned, physicality thing, and I think that goes back to watching all these celebration bowls, and you're really watching teams that sometimes, let's be honest, we beat South Carolina State, we really couldn't handle it. And then we look at what North Carolina Central had. I'm not saying we would beat them, but I think
I'm saying it
very well. And so you start looking at these teams from the MEAC over there, looking at them and saying, okay, yeah, this is the way that these they can compete with them, and we're beating them. And we're going back and looking over at that celebration bowl and saying, our old opponents.
Yeah.
Especially Jackson State. This is the way.
Yeah.
We're beating everybody else in the SWAC. So it's going to be one on the line, and that's how we're going to be able to win this game.
Yeah.
Being physical will win championships. This is the way. So wide receivers here. As we look, let's talk about some guys that we're looking for. I always hate to say that, and this is me. I hate to say the next Xavier Smith because there's only going to be one. Just as much as I'm ready for us to move past the Rat Boys thing, to be honest, I think, I'm ready for us to come up with something new. I don't know how long we can stay 2.0. I don't know how long 2.0 lasts. But anyway, some guys that I'm interested in that I've seen spotlighted through like even Gerald Thomas's reports. Kareem Burke, 6-foot sophomore from Jacksonville, went to Raines High School. His name has been mentioned quite a lot. Of course, we know Jamari Shareed. As I go, Darian Oxendine.
Yes, sir. Day.
That's our guy. He we had him. We've had him on the show. I mean, we've also had Nicholas Dixon.
Yes.
So I mean, those are two guys who really have experience. Oxendine is a redshirt senior, 5'10", 170. Nicholas Dixon, a grad student, 6'2", from Jacksonville, and also went to Godby. And I'll give you another experienced guy. Get curious to see Marquez Phillips.
I was just about to say that. What happens with him? Because we didn't see him.
We didn't see him.
Right.
He transferred from Virginia State, a 6'3" grad student. He's our tallest receiver next to Manigo.
And Dixon.
And Dixon, yeah. So, I mean, those are the 6'3", 6'2" guys. So, those are three guys I'm looking to see with their size, height. What kind of difference do they provide us compared to some of the shorter, quicker, speedier guys?
I think those are your outside receivers. Like the quicker guys, we know what Willie Simmons' offense is. You know you're going to see that screen so many times, and that's normally reserved for the smaller receivers who can kind of get in there, get in traffic, get lost, and all of a sudden they pop. But I think those bigger guys are going to be the guys that are on the outside, because in the past, Coach Simmons has stated, I don't really recruit big receivers because I use my tight ends as big receivers. So now that you do have those larger 6'3", 6'4" bodies, do you start putting those outside, and all those are goal line guys? Because he stated the tight end guys are normally the guys that I just put out there and use for goal line, and they body smaller corners.
Yeah, and you mentioned those tight ends. Jeremiah Pruitt, 6'5", redshirt senior. Kobe Goss, 6'2", redshirt senior. Kamari Young, 6'4", redshirt senior. Boy, if FAMU decides to use the tight end this year, I'm telling you, it's a lot of options.
Y'all forget Goss was like the thing. Like
that's who got drafted, if I'm not mistaken. It was Goss who got drafted.
No, you thinking about the offensive lineman.
You thinking about?
He's talking about Gossett. What is his name? The transfer from Buffalo, right? The wide receiver.
I was thinking that.
Yes, so you're saying,
yeah.
Okay. I might have missed it. I know there were a couple of draft picks I missed. Kelvin, what in terms of receivers, what guys are you looking at, interested in seeing perform?
So, to address the whole Xavier, one person is not going to replace him. K-Dot is going to serve, and Gassett, Jamari Gassett, who's the transfer from Buffalo.
Okay.
Will probably serve in that capacity and role, but I think it's going to take the collective effort. I think we got experienced big tight ends who can catch. So we're going to have to utilize. We're going to have some 2 tight end sets. We also have some big receivers. I need to see one name that you mentioned be consistent this year, consistent and dominant, and that's Manigo.
Yes, I agree.
He has to be a. He's a 5th-year guy now, and he has the talent. So I want to see him do his thing.
Gross was the guy I was thinking about. Transfer from Florida State. Yeah,
the tight end. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm looking for them to do it as a group and be consistent with it. I think our running game gonna be more improved, and if that's the case, they're gonna have more one-on-one opportunities and more space to operate, because the defense going to have to commit more people to the line of scrimmage. Now, I'm projecting, but I believe that's what the coaches are looking for. So I need the whole group to produce, right? They're going to have to make some tough catches, right? Especially, so in this game specifically, you got players who don't normally play next to each other because you got equal amount of talent on both sides. So I'm looking for the guys who can make the one-on-one plays, right? And so I just need to see someone, because we didn't see a lot of it last year, spring game either.
Now, somebody we did pointed out this guy last year. What about Leland Willoy?
Woo, that's my guy. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that. Great. Go ahead. That's a great transition. That's who I'm glad we talked about. Yes, I was gonna make sure to bring him up. Go ahead, Keith.
I mean, he popped last year. Like,
did he?
He did.
He played receiver. Simmons stated he's gonna be kind of that guy.
He's the Ascende. We're still talking about this guy. The Ascende Ray to Bishop Bonnet. So what we really didn't have last year, we didn't have somebody that filled in, because that was supposed to be what Will Hoyt was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the next guy after Ascende Ray, Bishop Bonnet. He got hurt, and we were always trying to find guys, whether it be Francis or other guys, and we never really had that element.
We didn't have the lightning.
No, exactly. We did not have the lightning. And if Will Hoyt, the 5'11" redshirt senior from Nashville, Tennessee, if he's healthy, which we're praying for good health for him, can you imagine the thunder of Yant and Jennings? And I would include Jennings as part of the thunder.
Yeah, he's a big back.
6'1", 225. And Yant, we already are discounting 6'2" now, 6'3". We're adding an inch and a couple pounds on Yant. He may not like that, but so if that's the thunder, Will Hoyt can be the lightning, and maybe even another guy like
Kelvin Dean.
I was going to mention Kelvin Dean, but also, how about Vashad Quinn? He's a name that I've seen come up from a couple of other scrimmages. Through Gerald Thomas has talked about it. He's a 5'8" redshirt freshman from Miami. He's a name that we really hadn't heard of. And then after the first scrimmage, which I think was maybe practice 6 or 7, all of a sudden his name starts popping up. And it's like, whoa, who is he's number 21. So you've got Vashad Quinn, number 21. You've got Kelvin Dean, number 9. I mean, that's 2 guys that you have to pay attention to, that we've got to pay attention to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially like you said, that was something even Coach Simmons mentioned. We missed that Thunder and Lightning guy, and our young running back, he didn't quite know the offense well enough. Coach Simmons said it in a nice way. That was the fact. He didn't understand everything well enough to really be that speed factor that you could have in the shotgun formation, that you can throw those short routes too and everything else, that even though it's a short route, it pops and gets you more yards and keeps the defense honest.
Any other thoughts on running back? I'm going to make a bold prediction right here that the first play, now I don't know, Coach Simmons is not necessarily coaching either squad. I'm making a prediction. Somebody's team is running first play off the box. We always talk about that, running the ball, right? Somebody's team is running on the first play, and I'm even going to take it further into the year. First play against Jackson State. I'm putting the line out there now, and I don't care if you want to say, if you want to throw a plus 200, plus 300, if you, because look, we know Coach Simmons likes to throw, but I'm putting odds on the first play in the regular season against Jackson State will be a run play. Put your money down wherever you can get that kind of action. You know, you may have to go out in the international waters down there in South Florida.
I'm gonna say a trick play.
Oh God!
I'm going with a trick play.
First, what, here today?
I'm gonna say for the Orange Blossom Classic.
Orange Blossom. Oh Jesus! What, like the inside handoff, flicker.
Well, you got a new staff and everything there, and they bringing in a new quarterback. I don't want us to get fancy. You know, we returning a lot of
no Travis Hunter. No Shiloh back there.
Yeah,
I'm not down for giving it a try. First play.
No, not a trick play. We don't need no trick play. Let's punch him in the mouth.
That's why I said first play. First play. Let's see if we can run it. Let's transition over to the defensive side, guys. While we got some time here, I want to look at the defensive backs because we are loaded in defensive backs. You know. Okay. So the defensive backs, I think when we were talking with Marcus and we were going through, we got about 25 defensive backs.
Yeah.
I know Marcus, you're watching. Aren't we we're in the like low 20s in terms of defensive backs here?
Yes.
The names that pop out, Lovey Jenkins is wearing number 1 today.
Frazier. Winston Frazier.
Bowler.
KJ
number 15, Winsome Frazier. Yeah. 6'3", redshirt sophomore from Miami. He's number 15. Javon Morgan wearing number 2. Kendall Bowler wearing number 3. Kamani King. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like King was one of those guys. He's a transfer from Iowa State, redshirt senior. He was one of those guys that we were kind of interested in seeing along with Eric Horn to kind of
wanted to kind of fill in that spot that DJ left. Like, and we forget DJ was kind of hurt during a lot of the season. Like, even if you kind of look back, his production fell off.
Yeah.
Then you remember DJ was hurt, and you saw where Kendall kind of was sitting. I think this is where you're going to see him in that role, that nickel corner that kind of can almost be a star. Like, you put from here, you go there. Because if you go back, last season, you know, DJ was kind of just a base corner, nickel corner. That previous season, he was all over the place, blitzing and all kind of stuff. I think that's what you're going to get from Kamani King.
Don't forget about Javon Morgan.
Yeah.
All swag safety, and also a guy that got drafted, a new name, Battle. And Deco Wilson too.
And Griffey.
Xavier Battle.
Yeah.
Xavier Battle wears number 14. Griffey,
special teams kid.
Number 7.
Oh, he killed
Griffey.
it last year. Yeah, he killed it last year.
You're gonna be interested to see if he's able to find some time in the defensive backfield. But I mean, we know. I mean, honestly, I feel like he's an all-conference, might be borderline all-American type as a
special teams
guys.
And honestly, can he? It'd be fun. I don't know if he can do it. Could he return kicks? That'd be I don't know. He's twitchy. He got a little bit of speed, but I don't know if he can field the ball that well. But I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Who was the you mentioned Battle? What was the other name? Was there any other defensive backs that?
Did we forget
Yeah, that's right. He got drafted. He got drafted.
He's number 10.
Yeah.
Number 10, 5'10", redshirt junior from Belgrade, Florida. Any other DBs that we want to mention?
I want to see what we do with the local product from Florida High, Sheldon Walker. Been in for a little while. Junior, senior this year, but he got some good size on like 6'3" corner. Again, local kid from Florida High, plays safety. I want to see what we do with him. I hadn't seen a lot of time, but you keep him on the roster, and he's got the build.
Deco Wilson, Jacksonville State DB too.
Yeah.
Good size, 6'1", 205. I heard a little something about him. So, yeah.
His secondary is not a problem.
Eric Smith, I don't know if we mentioned him. Don't forget, grad student.
Grad student, yep. Eric Smith.
Started a lot of games.
He got drafted as well. Number 8, Eric Smith. Yeah.
Very athletic. Very athletic. Experience and really good size outside of Eric Smith. I think everybody's pretty much like 6 foot now and above.
And we run that zone concept, so a lot of the times they're looking at the ball. They're not in man-to-man coverage where their backs to the quarterback very often. So that's something else to consider, and that also helps you when you're looking at trying to be a little more multiple as far as where you're blitzing from, where you're presenting pressure from.
Right.
Let's shift over here to the D-line, guys. First name that comes up, number 25, Tyrese Gibson Battles.
Yep, he got drafted.
Got drafted, 6'4", junior from Cleveland, went to Garden City Community College. Sharif Sai or C?
Yeah, he got drafted too.
Yeah, he got drafted. He's number 6. Defensive
6'5",
lineman,
250.
6'5", 250.
I just love our
6'5",
line.
250.
Yeah. Your quarterback better be able to move when you play the Rattlers this year, because they're not going to throw over that defensive line. Those ends. I mean, we're 3-4 deep on both sides, and everybody's a 6'5", legitimately 6'4", 6'5", everybody.
That's true.
And you're not going to have a lot of time anyway because they get pressure. But even when they don't get pressure, you've got to throw over those guys. So and I see we got a couple of. We mentioned the guy from LSU, I think, who's an offensive line, but I know we got a couple of D tackles. Also, transfers of JUCO visiting today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, one of the points of that they're going to be looking at in speaking to some individuals, the offensive defensive line. Those are going to be points that they're really looking, especially as the transfer portal opens today, that they're going to look to see if they can get some more people on the line because the game is played on the line. Coach Simmons stated that. He even stated his displeasure with sometimes what the offensive line was like last year. But if we go back even to OVC last year, the game really changed when Shador left the pocket. It wasn't just that he was killing us and standing there.
Right.
He had to start running, and when he started running, we were like, "Oh crap, he learned how to run."
And we couldn't get to him. So I'm hopeful that we have more. We are a better team, and again, we understand we were a bit. That was just an odd game.
They bust down on Wednesday. They had 20 new guys they added on Friday who hadn't really practiced with the team. It was a lot going on.
Totally different game. Totally different game if that game is played in October or early November. But you know, it is what it is. So we just gotta move forward from it. And you know, when we look at the linebackers, of course, number 0, Isaiah Major. Number 5 is Eric Horn. 20 is Jordan Moore. Let's see.
Very experienced group. Those guys played a lot last year. John Chaney. He's returning.
Number 28.
Watson, who played as a freshman last year.
Michael Watson, number 52.
Yeah, and good size, really good size on all those guys.
220.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think one of those linebackers just plays the starter. Started by the end of the game. At the end of the season, AJ and them boys are taking over. So who's going to be the linebackers? We normally have 2 linebackers.
Yeah, so it's a a lot of depth and a lot of good problems to have. I mean, and let's talk about this game flow for a moment. Because I think what's interesting, you know, this isn't the traditional ones versus ones, twos versus twos, all offense versus all defense. You know, when you get points for score, points for a stop. I mean, those are kind of, the guys do that during practice. I think what I like about this mixing of the ones and twos is that, A, it's going to, or it should, raise the level for the twos. And for the ones, it gives them an opportunity to show some of their leadership abilities, because there's going to be a point in the season where you're not going to have one of those ones next to you. It's going to end up being a two. Might even be a three. So how do you help that guy, you know, talented enough to play, but how do you get him acclimated to what's going on? What are some of your takeaways or your things? Go to you, Keith. What are you looking for in this one today?
You started the season last year. I mean, we just pointed out saying how that was an anomaly. But all of a sudden, you kind of looked, and a lot of what happened in the spring, those guys didn't come in. They came in and played. Yeah. I think you can point directly to that and say, hey, we're not going to let that happen again. But you can potentially start, and I think you're going to see a lot more good on good, opposed to when it's ones versus twos. They know they're the ones. They know the twos. They know a little bit better, whereas you're going to see some guys kind of get in the mix and be able to maybe shine against a starter, and there's some potential things that you may not be able to always see when it's just the ones versus twos.
All right, what do you got there, Kelvin?
I just like it because I think it forces people to compete. You know, the ones, the twos, everybody trying to, you know, move up the depth chart or defend where they are, and they're playing with guys that they may not have the chemistry with. So it gives the opportunity for guys to have some one-on-one opportunities to shine. And that's, I think the coaches are comfortable with this format because we have an experienced team. So they've seen them go against each other, ones and twos and so forth. So now you throw a wrinkle at them where they're with part of the guys they usually with, but they're with some new guys. And like you say, things that you can see as leadership, intangibles, football IQ. All right, this guy might not know the plays or the lineup, how to line up, and so forth. How can you help with the IQ and the execution of the squad, right? And can you, if you're a one or a two, can you beat your person individually consistently because you got talent? So now this game probably is going to be less about S's and O's and schemes, and it's really going to be about, can you whip the guy in front of you? Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking to see. Who can whip the guy in front of him?
Or cover the guy that you're supposed to be covering.
Right.
Or beat the guy who's
right.
guarding you. All right, Keith, let people know where they can check out your podcast if they're already not following and checking you out. Let people know the social media plugs and where you're at.
Definitely Things Up Podcast on HBCU Digital Network, as well as Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch as well. So, you know, follow y'all as well, though, because, you know, the big brothers from ONG Strike Zone.
Yes.
On Twitch.
Number love.
Got to get down with Twitch. What's it like over there in the Twitch world?
You know, I play with it through stream.
Nice. We're gonna wrap it up here so that, you know, we can get ready for the next show, Carlos Brown Show, coming up here at the top of the hour. I'm sure Carlos and Charles Edmond, I think Southern's already had their spring game. Alcorn's already had theirs. So this is a big day in spring football. There's probably about a good dozen, including the defending national champs, North Carolina Central. So a lot of people, a lot of eyes will be up there watching them. Us, we're probably number two. I think Jackson State's having their spring game this week. Or did they already have theirs? No, I think they're having theirs today. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of people.
Grambling, right, too.
Yeah, Grambling's today. A lot of people will be watching. It's a big day, probably the biggest day in all of April. So, for the next week.
It's a few next weekend, but the majority
to the scale of today. Yeah. So, the majority of the SWAC is, so we have a lot to talk about on a lot of different shows and places throughout the rest of the week. So, we're going to try to do a post game from this spot after the game. So the game ends, maybe about 4:30. You can watch it, FAMUathletics.com/watch live, or go FAMU Athletics Facebook page. That's where it'll be streamed. 2 o'clock is the start. If you still want to come see the game, tickets are only $15. Not a bad price. Don't know if both sides will be open, but
no, only one side.
Only one side, so that's unfortunate.
That's confirmed.
Yeah, that's confirmed. One side. So the 100 will be here supposedly. So we'll have some music. We'll have a good game and lots to see and lots to talk about after the game. Probably 5-ish. We'll send a notification. Make sure you're following us though. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. If you're subscribed to the YouTube page, MyJBN1, you'll get the notification when we get ready to go live. If something happens and we don't do a post game, we'll definitely be talking about it on Wednesday's show. So that's going to do it for our pregame live from Tallahassee, right outside of Bragg Memorial Stadium. We hope to see Rattler Nation here packing Bragg, and we hope for a safe, above all things, we are hoping for a safe, healthy game. We want to see some good hits. We want to see some good action.
We want to see some touchdowns, man.
We want to see some touchdowns. Yeah, we want to see some
That's what I want to
see.
see.
But more importantly, we want to see good health. So hopefully that's what comes out of this game. So, again, Keith, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Kelvin, I'm Brian. Thanks to Adrian and Mel in the background.
The production team, awesome. Y'all awesome.
We
appreciate
y'all.
My producer back. That's my producer, man.
That's going to do it. Be safe, Rattler Nation. Get ready. 2 fangs up. Make sure to strike, and strike again. Peace out.